Alrighty, love a good taboo conspiracy flat earth proof. So the video itself is apparently taken by the dude that made the Bob Wins website, and he claims to have tracked a ship called the Burge Mawson, and it was about 35 miles away, and he knows it's the Burge Mawson because it lined up with the sunset on the 25th of June 2024. Right, so here's the claim. He claims a viewer height of 16.4 feet, which sounds a lot like it's been converted from 5 meters, but we'll leave it in feet just for taboo conspiracy. The ship is claimed to be the Burge Mawson, and the ship tracking data says that it is 34.63 miles away at the time of sunset. All right, let's look at the viewer height first. So we don't get precise observer coordinates given, but there is a Google Earth pin in the screenshot here, which I've blown up and tried to replicate. You'll see it's in that rectangular area across from that path. So I think I'm pretty accurate there, and the coordinates are at the bottom of the screen. But the first issue is that according to Google Earth, this point has an elevation of 5 meters below sea level. Now that in itself isn't a red flag, because a lot of land in the Netherlands is actually below mean sea level. But it does mean that the viewer height definitely needs to be verified. And if you go into Street View at that location, you'll see that there's a big problem. A big, great heap of dirt is in the way. Now it's quite difficult to assess just from Street View how high that is, but my rough guess is it's about 25 to 30 feet higher than the road level. And thanks to Amsterdam Ordnance Datum, called Normal Amsterdam Peel, or NAP, we can see that there are 4 survey marks very close by, and they all show that the road level is around about 5.3 meters or 17 feet. So that's already higher than the viewer height given by the dude in the video, and it's not even taking into account the big mound of dirt. So unless he has footage showing otherwise, we have to assume that he is on the hill up with the wind turbines, and I'm going to give him an observer height of 45 feet. And if you guys are not happy with that, then do better observations. All right, so that's viewer height done. Let's see if we can confirm the identification of the ship. So there are 2 ships in the footage. Allegedly, it's the Burge Mawson in the background, but there is a ship in the foreground, and I think that identifying that one might give us some clues. All right, play the clip. All right, so if we can identify this ship, we might get a better lay of the land, shall we say. So what I did, found a really cool website called datalastic.com, and they have a really cheap introductory rate of €9 for a 2-week trial, but then it converts to super expensive, just like every other site. So I went and downloaded all the data for that area for the 25th of June 2024 and plotted it in Google Earth. And if you want to play with that data for yourself, I've stuck it in my GitHub account, links at the bottom of the screen and in the description. So I filtered out most of the rubbish and just showed ships that were in the area up to an hour before sunset and up to an hour after sunset. So the red line there is the direction of sunset on the 25th of June, according to Stellarium. And the green path is the path of the Burge Mawson, which, as you can see, does indeed cross the path of sunset. But was it the Burge Mawson? Well, like I said a minute ago, identifying the ship that you can see in the foreground could give us some clues. So there are a stack of ships in the middle of the screen there, obviously at anchor, waiting to go into port. And there are also a stack of ships closer to the observer that passed in front. And it took a while, but the ship that passes in front is called the Vitality. And that silhouette is a near perfect match. So let's see where the Vitality was right on sunset. Alrighty, so this is the path of that ship. There are actually only 2 data points around the time of sunset, one at 7:47 and the other one at 8:18. So I've assumed a constant speed between those 2 points and interpolated where the ship would be at 8:07 p.m. UTC, which is the time of sunset given by timeanddate.com in Taboo's video. I've also interpolated a time for when the ship passes the line of sight to the sunset. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where Taboo's problems start. Number one, if Taboo's buddy is where he says he was, which we've already demonstrated that he wasn't, then he is not lined up with the Vitality and the sunset. In fact, this blue line is almost 3.5 degrees further to the right than the azimuth of the sunset. And that's 7 sun widths. So it's much more likely the dude that took the footage was a bit further east. So I've had a bit of a guess at where he was, which is the place mark on the right. And then I've drawn a new line to the sunset and had a look at what ships were near it. And what do you know? If I follow that new line, it runs right into this ship, the Athena L, which was one of those ships just hanging around waiting to go into port. And just for completeness, here's a picture of the Athena L from marine traffic compared to a still shot from Taboo's video. And it looks like there's just a tiny little bit of the hull that's visible above the horizon. All right, so after we've fixed all the fuck-ups, we can see whether this observation matches the globe. So we've got an approximate observer height of around 45 feet. That's assuming the guy doesn't have X-ray vision to see through the dirt. And we've found the actual ship that he's looking at, and according to the tracking data, it's only 16.35 miles away. So let's go plug it into the curve calculator, and we get a refracted hidden of 32 feet. Okay, so according to marine traffic, the ship is 229 meters long, and when you scale it against the height, you get a height of 13.2 meters or 43 feet for the hull. Now, obviously, that ignores the current draft of the boat, but it's a reasonable ballpark figure. Right, so we're seeing a little bit of the hull, maybe 5 feet or so, and given the uncertainty in the draft, the uncertainty in the viewer height, I'm going to say that the prediction of 32 feet hidden means that the globe has miraculously somehow survived yet another rubbish observation courtesy of Taboo Conspiracy. And everybody clapped.